What you are about to hear will blow your mind and give you six-pack abs without even exercising.
Pull up a bar stool and relax.
Hey, who wants to have some fun?
You've made it to Happy Hour with John Gaskins.
Oh, no. Not again.
Get ready for entertaining local and regional sports talk that will change your life. Or not.
And by the way, when you're telling these little stories, here's a good idea. Have a point. It makes it so much more interesting for the listener.
Here's your host, John Gaskins.
Here's Johnny. Hello! Ah!
I'm back, baby! I'm back!
Hey, happy hour on a Wednesday, a week before game week for the Coyotes, for the Jackrabbits, for Augie and USF at our high schools. It's that time of year, and today is nothing but USD Day here on Happy Hour. Running back Charles Pierre Jr. Remember him? One of the best running backs in the nation, and he's back. Linebacker Gabriel Hardman, one of the best defensive players in the Mo Valley. He's on our show today from Vermilion. But leading things off is the voice of the Coyotes, and he's joining us from the Nebraska-South Dakota border. One of the great places to golf in all of the, in my opinion, country, the Prairie Lodge. But don't try to get a hold of him like we have. He's doing this just for us. And I'm so thankful that he is. John Thayer, how many years now as the voice of Coyote football and men's basketball?
Yeah, I started in a COVID year. Remember that spring when we had about 4 games? That was year number 1. So It's been a pretty fun ride, obviously, over the last couple of years with USD having some success, finding some playoffs, and it's been fun.
And how many years now overall on the football broadcast, just being in Vermilion for you?
Well, my first year doing women's basketball was in 2012. So I've seen a few things around here. 2013, I think it was, the 13-14 season. So been around and seen some changes.
Yes, you have. And I'm so thankful. And on your golf vacation, right before all the madness starts, we're sorry to make you work a little bit here, but you seem up to the task of talking about the Yotes. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime. It's great to chat with you.
Yeah. Quick word before we jump in. We have lots of coverage at SiouxFallsLive.com. We have a Coyote football page. Both Matt Zimmer and Trey Houchin, our USD guy, have been in Vermilion covering practices, doing in-depth stories, not just on the 3-horse quarterback race or the retooled offensive and defensive lines, all of it. Coyote football page at SiouxFallsLive.com, where you can also watch this chat if you want to see our young and good-looking faces as we talk Coyote football, and plenty of USD clips and highlights from practice and last year's games behind us at SiouxFallsLive.com. We also had Matt Vitztham, the head coach, on last July, a month ago, at MVFC Media Day, and we'll be chatting with Vitz every single week starting next week during the football season. So next week, as we get ready for game 1, we'll have Vitz every week. So there's a lot there. Plus, Scott Jones, Mr. USD. Who else would it be? The man is one of the GOATs of all time, Hall of Famer, quarterback of the team that reached the national semifinals in D2 40 years ago, back-to-back. They're having a reunion this year. Scott Jones joined us to talk about the glorious past, but also the very promising present and future. And he's a big part of that as a high-rolling booster. So that was a great chat on Monday. It's all there for you, SiouxFallsLive.com. All right, now that that's out of the way, John, 30,000-foot view. I asked you, you're 14 years into your time at USD, and that includes all the football games because you were the sideline guy before you took over the booth. And 7 years. There's a lot has happened. You got here right when still the transition to D1 was young and struggling, and now here we are, 3 straight years, quarterfinal berths, only team in the nation that can say it has done that. 3rd different head coach in the last 3 years. And yet, talking about Scott Jones and boosters, new facilities are coming. The Dome is going to be a football-only stadium. $47 million raised since John Schemmel took over as AD. you're there. You're in the thick of it. So the big view of USD athletics, starting with football, which is always kind of the front door. What's it like? What's it like right now? What's the vibe?
Well, I think there's a lot of excitement just around USD athletics in general because you look over the last couple of years, they've gotten some head coaches in place and built some of the programs headed in the right direction. We saw women's basketball, kind of take a dip, but then their resurgence last year and feel like that can continue to build. And men's basketball as well. And obviously volleyball has remained to be a competitor every year. Football's continued to grow and football's taken a while. This is a university that tried to commit to building football, and it had to have the right coaches in place to build it. And none of them took the route of trying to build this thing overnight. So it was just a one and done. They've tried to build it over years, and it's taken a long time. And for our fans, I know the quarterfinals are great and they want more. But if you would have looked back, if 10 years ago, you would have said at some point, we'll go to the quarterfinals 3 straight years and one of them is going to be a semifinals. I don't know if anybody would have believed you, to be honest. But it's been a building process and it's been a lot of fun to see because this program has gone so far in the last decade and excited to see where Coach Fitztham can take it.
Right. Well, as we mentioned, third different head coach in the last 3 seasons, but of course, Bob Nielsen was here for almost a decade and really was the guy that's built this to where it is. So that's part of the answer to the question I'm about to ask you. I mean, you're in the FCS, and when you're in the FCS, your best players, some of them are going to go off to the FBS once they've had one great season of FCS. So there's been a revolving door of really good players. There's been a revolving door of head coaches and some assistants and coordinators in the last 3 or 4 years. The one constant has been Aiden Bauman, but he's gone. And yet, again, this program feels so solid and so stable, and there's fairly high expectations again this year, despite some of those losses of players and coaches. In your mind, why? Aiden Bauman's one. You set the stage with Bob Nielsen. But why are things so solid and so stable?
I think it's just been the foundation that's been laid. They've been able to get some guys in the program who have stayed here for 2 and 3 years, and that group, Aiden and Travis Tice and a bunch of those guys that elected to stay here a few years ago and really commit to this thing and ended up in the semifinals because of it. That was a really special group, and I think that they just continue to implement to younger guys like you can play here, you can do something special here. And the other thing is, we're getting the guys who are good enough to play. You'll see the top level of the FCS, Montana's, South Dakota State, North Dakota State for a long time. They're getting players that definitely can play in the FBS level, but they want to play right now, right? And they want to play at a very high level. And so we're getting a lot of those guys, and they're proving what they're doing. But I think the foundation's been laid. The culture has changed over the last, 7 years, 5 to 7 years. And I think they're starting to recruit to that culture, getting coaches who understand it. And right now it's working. It feels like a special place, and it feels like a season that USD could have another fun run.
We're going to dive into some of those players that are going to be major parts of how things unfold in 2026. But the new head coach, Matt Fitztham, we've had a chance to talk to him the day he took over and was introduced. And one spring football conversation, a delightful 15-minute chat in July. You've been able to see practices, be around him and the staff. What have been your overall observations as an insider of since Travis Johansson left and Matt Fitztham has taken over?
Well, I think I'll go back even further than that. Matt Fitztham was on the staff for 2 years. And I think one thing I noticed in practice is like players really enjoyed being around him. Like you could tell that he just had a knack to get players to play. And we saw it with Aiden Bauman. I mean, he and Aiden were so close last year, and it just changed how Aiden's season went for the better. But as the head coach, it feels like leadership has been a big thing that has just jumped out. It kind of sounds like coach speak maybe a little bit, but I mean, the way he's getting out there and he's forcing guys to get hydration breaks and he's telling them what they need to do to get better and all of it. Like, to me, all of it is just, they're going to buy in because they feel that leadership with him. And I think that's been a big part of it. You could tell his emotion and how tied in he is to this. He wants it to work. He knows it can work. And, he's probably going to have some ups and downs year one as a head coach, right? Some decisions you have to make on the fly, and you can play those out in your head a million times, and we can look back as fans and say, well, that was the wrong decision, right? But in the time you got to make those decisions, we're going to find out what he's like there. But what I can tell you is I've been around sports a long time like you have, and when you get coaches that players enjoy being around, they're going to play hard for them, and that is half the battle. Wins and losses are going to come as they come, but you get players that get out there and compete hard because of who they're playing for. That says a lot.
Of course, the last couple of years he had been the co-offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, but not the OC calling plays, which he has said has worked to his advantage because he can take a step back. And even though I don't know he was going to be the next head coach after just one season of Johansson, he got a feel for the overall game versus the tunnel vision you have when you're controlling and in charge of one side of the ball. But he worked closely with Aiden Bauman, and now he has to decide between three quarterbacks who he has repeated all have a strong skill set and who he's going to be confident in no matter who it's going to be when things open up with Central Connecticut State a week from Saturday. Matt Zimmer and I yesterday on our college football preview show, Jackson Yotes edition, we really dove into the skill sets of Austin Majeski, the freshman, who a week ago it appeared had kind of taken the front runner reins, the two-time Gatorade Player of the Year from Colorado. And then you have a senior transfer from Dartmouth in Jackson Proctor, and a senior who's been at USD his whole time, Nevin Cremascoli, and a little more experience. They're seniors and a little more time in the system. And we talked about how maybe this won't be decided by game one. What have you observed from these quarterbacks and your sense of how different the offense may be from what we've known from Aiden Bauman this year?
Yeah, I think, the number one thing that jumps out is no matter who gets the job, they all, no offense to Aiden, they all move a little better than Aiden did. So being able to get out and run a little bit and gain some yardage, and Aiden could do that when he absolutely had to. For the most part, he didn't have to, and he knew how to make good decisions. You look at those three guys, and obviously Jackson is the guy who has the most game experience at this level. He played as a starter for Dartmouth before he went to Northern Illinois, and I know Dartmouth is in the Ivy League, but when you go out and you play and you put up numbers, that still says something about you. Nevin came here from Northern Illinois. He's been in the program a couple years ago. He was used more as kind of a gadget guy. They'd get him in there and run some plays. He'd throw it. He'd run the ball, do things like that. Didn't get utilized as much last year, but a guy who's obviously very familiar with the program. And then Austin, and you talked about him, and he feels like a guy who has a lot of upside, to be honest with you. I've watched all these guys a lot, and I think Austin throws the ball exceptionally well, and he can get out and move, but he's a young guy, right? He's in his second year in college football. He hasn't played a snap. So there's going to be some ups and downs, and programs have gone through that. So, I think when you look at those guys, anybody that goes out there will have the skill set to go out and compete. And what the coaches have to really make it boil down to, I think, is whoever they feel like runs the offense the best and really controls the huddle and things like that. Because you can all go out there and throw touchdowns. You can all go out there and make mistakes and turn the ball over and things like that. But you have to be able to command the huddle. And I've seen Austin take a lot of reps. And, I know there's a lot of people saying he's been the front runner. And we've seen him take a lot of the number one reps. So it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out. But really excited to see who they name as the quarterback. And whoever it is, what they're able to do, build some confidence here early on.
And maybe if they use more than one quarterback, we'll have to see. We'll learn a little bit more next week as we get it to game time. This was an offense that, you mentioned who's going to have the best command of the offense. It didn't turn the ball over a whole lot last year. Aiden was really smart making sure that didn't happen. And that ended up being a big reason why this team, although starting 0-2, 2-3, 5-4, they win 4 in a row. They blow out Mercer, the number 6 team in the country, on the road before the season ended in Montana. And we know Charles Pierre, it's a familiar name. You lose Lorenzo Fenner and LJ Phillips to Power 4 schools or to FBS schools. This is where we give the fans what they want. You've been there. You know a little bit more than most people who have access down there. Besides Charles Pierre, who do you really expect offensively to have, You can safely say you're going to call his name a lot on the broadcast, and he's going to make plays.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to a couple of guys. I think the way they utilize Tennell Bryant and Keandre Jones-Logan is going to be huge for this offense. Keandre is lining up more as a true running back, but don't be surprised if they split him out, right, and do some different things with him. He's just versatile. He's got incredible speed. Tennell Bryant's a guy that they don't feel like they utilized to his skill set last year, and they know as an offense, and it's a focus to figure out his skill set and use it because he's a player that can be really explosive. So those guys, and then another one I know our fans started clamoring for last year because he got good in the return game. Braden White has a chance to be really, really good at wide receiver for this group, and they're going to need that, right? They're going to need a couple of guys to step up at the wide receiver room. I like Tyson Bowes and Tennell, but they're going to need other guys, Bryce Cahoon and Braden White, guys like that to really step up. And Braden White is going to be put in a position where he'll have a lot of opportunities, make some big plays, and that's a name that we'll definitely know and have a lot to talk about by the end of the year.
Okay, same thing on defense. The line had to be retooled, but Chris Dixon is back. We're about to talk to Gabe Hardman, so you can tell me what you've seen from him. But what do you expect to be the strong suit and the thing to be most concerned about, at least to start the season?
Yeah, Gabe's unbelievable. He's a great football player, but he's a great human being. And this is a guy that coaches told me, look, he's not just our defensive guy. Like, he might be the heartbeat of this entire team. Like, his emotion and the way he plays the game and helps out, like, he's the guy that can really make them go. So Gabe Hardman's obviously got to have a really good season, and I'm really interested to see what the secondary looks like. Obviously, R.J. Stewart's back, and I think Jalen Bain-Peterson looks way better this year so far than he did last year, and Josh Grant, who transferred in. I think up front, somebody like Isaiah Ray is going to be a name that people are going to get to know very, very quickly. He's going to be a big contributor up front. Him and John Starman are a couple of those guys that are going to take the pressure off of Chris Dixon. And I love Chris Dixon, man. He's been around for his whole career, and I've talked to him the last few years, and you could tell, like, going into last year, he really took that jump of, look, I want to play football. I want to be good at this. And he's really excited. I know that D-line's going to be a special group. Isaiah Ray, and you can't forget about Nathan LePerry. Yeah, he came on. He had a couple of sacks down at Lamar in that loss down in Beaumont, and a player that when he's healthy, you have to game plan for.
Okay. Looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. Matt Zimmer and I went through the schedule, the MVFC, all the other stuff that mixes into what kind of a season it might turn out to be. But no doubt there's plenty of reasons to be excited. So, and you and I could go on for another hour just babbling like this. We only skimmed the surface. But I've got to get to Charles Pierre and Gabriel Hardman, and you've got to go play some golf. Are you doing the dunes or the pines this afternoon?
We're headed out to the dunes, so it's
okay.
Very limited wind. This is a top 3 day for the dunes course out here.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're lucky. Yeah. Prairie Club, by the way, I misspoke. You're in the lodge at the Prairie Club, and you're far too kind to take a break from your last vacation before things hit the road to work with us here. So thank you very much, John. Appreciate it.
Anytime. Glad to make it work, and anytime you need anything, you know how to reach me.
Voice of the Coyotes on the radio broadcasts, of course, at goyotes.com and the Yotecast as well. That's underway. Thanks, John. John Thayer, USD Day here on Happy Hour.
It's still Happy Hour with John Gaskins, so go ahead, have another.
USD Day here on Happy Hour. John Gaskins with a key component of the Coyote defense in 2026. And that season starts a week from Saturday against Central Connecticut State. He is a preseason third-team All-American by stats and has been described by those who know the team well as not just potentially the heartbeat of the defense, but of the entire squad. Gabe Hardman out of Miami, Florida, joining us from Vermilion, and he is heading into his junior season. And when you hear, Gabe, just not the preseason accolade, but the fact that people feel like you have not just a strong influence on your side of the ball, but the whole team. How do you react to that? How do you process it? How does it feel to be on the cusp of another season in Vermilion?
I mean, it feels great to be recognized by your teammates like that. It just shows that what we're doing here is amazing and it's special. I just feel like it's really important to have that, you know what I'm saying, to have people say that about you. I mean, it's a blessing. It's just taking one day at a time, building trust with your teammates, building trust with the coaches, and to be able to have that, it's just amazing.
All right. You should be in a good mood for this chat. You just had some pasta and chicken for lunch. Your practice is still not yet until this afternoon. We're recording this at about 1 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon. But you're now going on season 4 in Vermilion, South Dakota, which every time I chat with a USD player or coach, I bring this up because a lot of you obviously didn't grow up in Vermilion or in South Dakota. You're in one of the smallest Division I cities in the country, and you came there from Miami, Florida, one of the biggest cities in the country, and certainly as different weather-wise and culturally as it can get from Vermilion, South Dakota. So I'll first ask, how acclimated are you now? How acclimated and entrenched are you?
I'm very acclimated. I mean, I'm very much used to it now.
Yeah.
When I did get here, my first year, it was a bit different from where I come from, but the coaches and the players building that brotherhood, I mean, they made it easy. So it was a very easy transition.
I mean, how did you end up here? Who do you remember contacting to recruit you? What were some of the other schools that were looking at you, and why did you decide to come to USD?
Who recruited me first was Coach Hodge, that from that staff, and then it was Coach Rosie a little bit too. Coach Hodge came to one of my spring games down in Miami. Coach Hodge is originally from Fort Lauderdale, so it was in that area. So he came. I'll never forget this. I was playing. I was making some good plays, and he came to me on the sideline. He was the only coach to go on the sideline because everyone else was like around the stadium. And he came to me and he walked past me real quick and was like, keep playing, like keep making plays. And then right after we talked about it, and it went off from there. He came to my school the next day. He was supposed to make other stops, but he said, "No, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to come straight to you." And he offered me right there on the spot.
Wow. What other schools? What other kinds of places?
I had Marshall. I had Bethune-Cookman. I had ULM, University of Louisiana Monroe. I had what else? Grambling, and I think that was about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
He offered. Did you take the offer right on the spot? Did you need to think about it?
I kind of knew already, like just off the conversations that me and Coach Hodge were having, that they were most definitely the school that was reaching out to me most. They saw the most potential in me, and as soon as I came on my visit in the summer, I committed right away. I knew this was going to be the place that I wanted to play because of the relationships that I had, the coaches that were there, and how they saw me going into my future here. So I said it was a no-brainer for sure.
So it was all kind of clicking for you, and you kind of knew before you visited the place, and you've acclimated. But yeah, again, I've got to ask somebody from Miami, Florida, was what kind of apprehension, especially when you look at some of the other schools that were recruiting you, were in warmer weather places, maybe places that might have felt more familiar to you, and not just the cold. But again, it's a small town in the Midwest. Was there any apprehension, or was it, you're confident you were going to fit right in right away?
I knew because just of the opportunity that I was presented by the school. They made sure that they saw me how they were going to see me in the defense, and they see what I can do. So from my high school tape to now, I mean, I feel like it's a good comparison. So I just knew, like, I got a gut feeling that I knew that this was going to be the spot I wanted to play at. And ever since then, it's worked out pretty good. So
yeah, and I want to talk all about that, but I do want to actually go back to growing up in Miami, where obviously it's a huge football culture. Your father was a college football player at Central Florida, correct?
Yes,
in
sir.
Orlando?
Yes, sir.
Our other guest today on the other side of the ball, guy you've probably tackled a few times or as much as you've been allowed to tackle. Charles Pierre, Jr., also from Florida, whose father played college football in Miami at Florida Atlantic. And he talked about lifting weights at a much younger age than kids do, just being a football junkie right away, and wanting to be like his dad. Was that you?
Yeah, that was me for sure. I started playing tackle football when I was 4 years old. So, I mean, that's kind of how you grow up there. Is as soon as you're be able to process and be able to walk, you're right into tackle football, and I think that has helped me a lot because you start at a very young age and you get a lot of experience. So, I just feel like that is one thing from being from that type of area where you get that type of foot forward and you get a head start on a lot of people.
I bet. Like our reference, besides the fact that I grew up with in the 80s and 90s, the U and the Hurricanes, and then certainly they've been somewhat immortalized in the ESPN 30 for 30s about the U, which I'm sure you've seen, right?
Right. Yes, sir.
Were you a big Canes fan? And I'll start there.
I mean, growing up, I always loved the U. That's a school that I've always watched since I was little. I remember going to the Orange Bowls. I remember when I was younger going to those games. It's always fun watching them. And even now, like I'm still a fan. It's just being from Miami and seen them having success each year is pretty cool to me. But I mean, it's pretty cool.
And within that, certainly that'll stoke a fire to play football. So will being the son of someone who played at the Division I level, but also give us an idea of just how competitive. I mean, you said, hey, you got a head start because, it was literally in your bloodlines.
Right.
But what fascinated me as much as anything about the U is just the culture of not just high school football, but youth football, from how competitive it is, how much it means to a lot of people there. Take us in and paint the picture of what that was like.
It's super competitive. I mean, when you start at a young age, you're playing with people that you've known since you were little, and you know what I'm saying, you're playing against people that you've known, their family, so it's every time we meet on a Saturday early morning, you're playing against someone that and you know what I'm saying, you go to school with them, so it's super competitive. I mean, just in that environment itself, the parents are talking trash to each other, we're talking trash to the players, so it's like it's literally every Saturday it's a battle on that field. So I mean, it's literally like you said, it's very, very competitive.
What's the most cutthroat thing you remember happening to you or a teammate in a practice or in a game?
I would say my 155s year. I played for the Palmetto Raiders. I played with them like all my life. And we had two teams. It was us and Ghouls Rams. They're like probably like 10 minutes away from our park. It was like kids that we know from that neighborhood and kids that I know from our neighborhood. We kind of got two teams together from each neighborhood and we played against each other. And I mean, it was the park was sold out. It was probably like 1,000 people there, like to come watch us play. It was early morning game. Everyone was there. And as we were walking out the tunnel, they already were on their sideline. And we like kind of went to their sideline and we had like a face off and it was crazy. Like people were going crazy and it was a good game. We ended up winning that game. I'll never forget that. That was probably one of the best moments that I've had since I was playing youth football.
Why? What'd you do in that game?
I caught a 30-yard tight end pop pass. I played tight end. And then it just the rivalry itself, like, you know what I'm saying? You never forget a rivalry game. And that was one that I will never forget. And it was just a lot of good defense, good offense, and plays in that game where momentum shifted, and it was just an overall good game that I think I will never forget.
How old were you at the time?
I would say I was around 13, 14.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so judging by how vividly you remember it, how fondly you remember that, was that sort of a moment where you figured, okay, just like my dad, I think I could make it in this sport if I apply myself.
I think that came from going to high school as well too, with people that I know, people that I've played the sport with on that team I've played high school with. So I think just knowing, having the coaches, my little league coaches, you know what I'm saying, putting that in me that I can actually do this when I get to high school. I mean, I think it gave me the extra motivating factor that I can do it and I can actually play college football.
Yeah. All right. What position did your dad play?
He played linebacker as well.
Okay. And so, just like Charles, you're playing the same position your dad played. Was that
Yes, sir.
because so what went into that? Was that your desire? Was it what he saw in you? Did you have any desire to play anything else just to not do what he did? Like, how did that all come about?
So when I was little, I played running back and like safety, you know what I'm saying? Just running around the field having fun.
Okay.
And then when I got to that youth league, Pop Warner, I played tight end and I played D line. And then when I got to high school, my freshman year at Miami Palmetto, I played receiver. And one of the defensive coaches was like, "Hey, man, I don't think receiver is like a good fit for you." He was like, "Come." So as soon as we walked in, your first day of camp, you had either a white shirt or a dark blue shirt. So he had to pick. So I picked the white shirt, which obviously was offense. And he came to me a couple practices in. He was like, "Man, I don't think you're a fit for a receiver." So his name is Coach Fidel, big mentor for me. He gave me a dark blue jersey, and I played linebacker since. So I started playing linebacker like my ninth grade, end of ninth grade, going into my 10th grade year.
And clearly throughout high school, you played it well enough. This was identified as this is your future in football. This is where you'll play in college, right? You kind of knew that. And what do you like most about playing the position?
Man, just being able to punish someone for free every single play. You get a free opportunity to punish someone every single play. Either it's the O-line, the ball carrier, the tight end. I just love being physical. I think that's what stands out about my game when you cut on the tape is just being the most physical person on the field. And I think violence makes up for a lot of mistakes. So I think that's why I think I love the position linebacker. And it's to also be the voice of the defense, to be able to get the guys around you right and in the same position as you and being on the same page. I think that's the most important thing.
Did you how did your father approach you being, again, this is going back to Charles and the chat I had with him. Did you feel pressure? Was he very hands off? How we've heard about the nightmare, parent stories.
Right.
How did your dad, and how does he still approach this with you?
He was very hands off. He wanted for it to be that I can want it for myself, right? Not him putting it into me. So I think that's what really helped me as well too, is just knowing that he played it, and yeah, it was cool for him to do it, but also knowing that if I want to do something, then it has to come from myself. It can't come from nobody else. So I think that's how he kind of approached it with me. It was very hands off. He let me do everything that I needed to do, and obviously, if there was a decision to make, he was obviously there to help me and guide me through that. But I think that was a big thing that he did, was hands off and let me want it for myself, because I knew at the end of the day he wasn't going to be there when I made the decision or when I did certain things. It was going to be for me.
Yeah. All right. So, and we've mentioned your recruitment, your commitment to USD and Vermilion. And so here you are. You technically redshirted the 2023 season, your first in Vermilion, but you get in some games and stay under the threshold of what can allow you to still consider that a redshirt season. And then 2024, you're a redshirt freshman. Last year, you're a redshirt sophomore, and your playing time has increased. But take me back to whenever it was, like your aha welcome to college football moment, in a USD practice or maybe a game where it's like, this is a different level.
Okay. I'll say my freshman year, we're doing goal line. We're in a package, and Coach Hodge threw me in there. And I'll never forget, I was going against Travis Tice. We're in a hole, and he ran me clean over. And I think that was my welcome to college moment. I thought I was going to be able to make the play in the backfield, but no, it was the other way around, and the offense went crazy when he scored. That's something that I'll never forget also. You
got a big smile on your face talking about that.
He laid the lumber on me. He laid the lumber on me.
When you got here, you were kind of taking a leap of faith. Like the Yotes had made the playoffs in 2021, and 2022 was a weird year. The year you were being recruited, that was a 3-8 operation. They weren't very good. And yet, since you got here, 3 straight quarterfinal appearances, you guys have been one of the top 10 teams in the nation the whole time. From your own perspective, being right in the thick of it, on the defense, why is that? What has made this whole operation, but certainly the defensive side of the ball, that earned Travis Johansson the head coaching job once Bob retired? What have you seen as to why that program went from struggling the season you're a high school senior and you committed to what it is now?
I always thought it was the attitude of our defense and the attention to detail of our assignment and knowing what we're doing. I always thought that we had a very a tough mindset of coming in to knowing that we're going to dominate the opponent across us. It was never about the assignment football. It was never about none of that type of stuff. It was strictly about being the most violent team and the most team that gave the most effort. I think that was always our approach to every single season that I've been here. I can say that was our mindset on the defense was to really just be the most violent and give the most effort and knowing your assignment and doing your 111th on the field. And I think that's what really showcased these last 4 years that I've been here. I think that's really been the mindset on the defensive side of the football.
Violent is a word Travis Johansson liked to use. I do know that. What was it like playing defense for him?
It was great. He was a defensive mastermind. I mean, he was incredibly smart. I mean, his pregame speeches were one of my favorites. He would let us have it, and I mean, we would go out there ready to run through a brick wall for him. I mean, he was a great coach. He was very attention to detail. He knew a lot about the game of football, and he gave that to us, and he pushed that through us. And I think that's what really helps the defense as well.
Okay, what was the most? Do you have a most memorable pregame moment that really captured your attention that you'll never forget?
Yeah, I would say that 2024 season versus NDSU, the conference championship game. I'll never forget that. I won't say what he said, but just know it was pretty good.
Was it before the game or
at
halftime? Before the game. Okay. What was your reaction to when he decided to take the Rutgers job and now you don't know who your head coach or your defensive coordinator was going to be back in February?
I kind of took it on the chin. I mean, it was something that caught us all by surprise, I would say. But when he made the decision, he did what was best for him and his family, and he thought what he did was the right decision. So I mean, I took it on the chin, and I knew I wanted to be here at the University of South Dakota. So when that happened, I just took it forward, and I trusted in the coaches that were still on the staff and that were still here. I thought that we would be able to make something work, and I know it happened right before the year that Coach Johansson was on the staff. So I mean, it happened the right way it was supposed to.
Well, the good news is, Billy Kirsch was your defensive coordinator last year under Travis, and he stays there to work under Matt Fitztham. What kind of stamp has he put on the defense, and how would you describe playing for him?
Coach Kirsch is playing amazing. I mean, he's another one, a defensive mastermind who is super smart and who knows very, very well the X's and O's of football. So I think he makes the things easier for the guys on the defensive side, where it's understanding why you're doing the assignment and how you're doing it and why we want to do this. I think he's super, super, super smart and someone who I love playing for because he understands the game of football and he loves that we play violent and we give effort, and that's something that I love.
So from day one, when Travis was your DC to now, how much has really the scheme or the language or anything changed there? It's been pretty easy.
I mean, it's about the same, but Coach Kirsch obviously has his own adds-ons to it like that. I mean, he tries to keep things the same and just so that we would all understand on the defense why we're trying to do it and how we're trying to do it.
Gotcha. Last one, I think. Take us to your guys' defensive meeting rooms, your practices, and from your eyes, especially in the middle of everything as a linebacker and a leader. What do you see in front of you? What do you see behind you? Who, and I'm talking about the who's, the players, your teammates, should Yotes fans be excited to see on that side of the ball this year?
Every single one of them, whoever comes in the game.
Good answer.
I think we have, since I've been here, I think this is probably in my opinion, this is going to be one of the best defenses. I mean, from the D-line back to the back end, I mean, you guys have people like Tim White, RJ Stewart, you have Chris Dixon, you have Nathan LePerry, you have who else do we have? We have Wade Abrams, we have Harrison Brunn, we have who else on the D-line am I forgetting?
I didn't mean to quiz you.
No, I mean, we have guys that it's everyone whoever steps on the field for the University of South Dakota defense. I mean, you're going to get the best from them, and that's what it is.
What's it like to try to tackle, bring down Charles Pierre?
He's pretty fast, so you have to have the right angle on him, and he is very a powerful back. So just knowing what players come in and having the right angle on him, because if you do not have the right angle, he will leave you.
Is he sitting in the room with you right now?
Yes, he is.
Okay. All right. Well, we're looking forward to chatting with him as well. This was a treat. Best of luck this year. Thanks for joining us.
Thank
Nice
you.
to meet you,
Appreciate
Gabe.
you. Yes, sir.
Gabe Hardman, USD linebacker.
It's still happy hour with John Gaskins. This round's on me.
USD Day. We're chatting with a couple of players down in Vermilion as the Coyotes get ready for the 2026 football season. They're ranked number 12 nationally in the stats preseason poll. They're picked to finish fifth in the Mo Valley, which is the same thing as saying you're picked to finish in the fifth in the SEC. And of course, they're the only team in the country that has reached the quarterfinals 3 straight years. A big part of it 2 years ago, one of the best running backs in the country and a preseason All-American this year, Charles Pierre Jr., joining us about a year after we chatted with you before last season started. It was a really enjoyable conversation where we got to know Charles and his background, playing youth and high school football in Miami, growing up the son of a running back legend at Florida Atlantic, and embarking on a promising 2025 season. And here we are a year later, and a year different. So I know you've answered this question before, and it's great to see you again. But what kind of emotions and thoughts have you had in the last several months heading into this season, considering everything that happened in the year since we talked, where you were hurt in game 2, and that was it for your season, and LJ Phillips comes in and rips it up, and now you get to go right back into your spot of here we go again?
Honestly, it's like a real bittersweet, sweet feeling. I mean, getting hurt, I learned a lot about myself. Obviously, I felt like I had a lot left in the tank. But being able to see LJ do the things that he did, it was always like it was a treat to watch on the sideline just because of how close our relationship was. After the season, just rehabbing and getting back to where I am now, it's been a roller coaster of emotions, but I definitely would say I had a lot more good days than bad days, and I'm honestly just really excited and ready to play football again.
MVFC best. He was the number 1 rusher in the Mo Valley in 2024, part of that national semifinal team for the Coyotes, best team they've had in the Division I era. 1,244 yards, first ever FCS 1,000-yard rusher at USD as well. And we're going back almost 20 years for that. And then LJ followed suit this past year. And so, before we get into the road back and the excitement you have for this season to start, we just chatted with Gabe Hardman, linebacker and another preseason All-American. And it turns out not only are both of you guys from the Miami area, you played some high school football against him.
It was Pop Warner, like when we was like little kids,
Warner.
10, 11 years old.
Did you play high school as well?
No, we didn't play against each other in high school. At that point in time, I was already in Orlando.
Okay. So that's right. All right. But take me back to Pop Warner. Do you actually remember him? And were you a running back, and was he a linebacker even back then?
So I was a running back and a linebacker when we played against each other. We played against each other twice. One was in the semifinals of like states or like regionals, and then we played each other in Disney, which is like the main big game in Florida. So we won the first one, and then we lost the second one. But yeah, it was really good games. That was like we played them back-to-back years. Like it was a fun experience for sure.
Did you do you remember any head-to-heads with him tackling you?
Not necessarily
you hitting him?
I think we found out we played against each other when we got to college. Because we was talking about Little League, and then he pulled up the same game that I pulled up. I'm like, that was me, and then we didn't even know each other for real. We just found out when we got up here.
It's really, it feels like it's a very small world when the two of you come from such a big, vast, heavily populated, highly football saturated place like Miami, and you both end up I'm sure it feels random at the University of South Dakota. One would think that you guys probably are good friends, having that in common. But are you? And have you talked
Yeah.
a lot about not just this commonality, but having fathers who were absolute studs in college football at the Division I level in Florida?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we kind of talk about it. My dad obviously played at FAU, so when I was a very small kid, I stayed down in Miami. But we were kind of different because I moved to Orlando, so I basically lived there my whole life. And we realized like once we got up here, it's not even close to the same than it is at home. It was a complete culture shock. But we have a lot of those similarities, just being from the same area and acting the same way. So we definitely got along really quick. And then obviously we're on opposite sides of the ball, and we test each other every single day at practice. So it was definitely like that's what grew us closer together.
Yeah. What has it been like going against him? I know you're going against other linebackers, other
Yeah.
defenders, but now you guys are both on the doorstep of what could be a special season, both individually and as a team for you. So, explain the intensity and also just the high level talents that both you and him have, and the moments that you might be having here in these early season practices and
Yeah.
scrimmages.
Honestly, Gabe, he's probably the hardest linebacker to figure out. I know he was saying like, sometimes it's hard to tackle me, but I really have to bring my A game every single day because he's very smart on defense. Like even when it comes to like maybe calling out our plays or knowing which way is gonna flow, like he makes me think, and we make each other better that way. Like even when we do, one on ones, pass protection and routes, like it's always a battle. It's like a war zone with me and him are going at it. So it's definitely a fun experience, and it's definitely getting us better for the season for sure.
Is there trash talking?
Not really. It's more so like bring each other along. Like we won't really trash talk, but sometimes it'll get a little up there where we just really competing, but we show love at the end of it because it's just work.
Um, Give USD fans who would love to be at practice watching you guys get ready for the season, but have jobs and lives. Uh, from your perspective, as someone who's going to have the ball a lot, what you're seeing on the other side of the ball and what you're experiencing after the snap, like what kind of insights can you give into the USD defense?
Honestly, I'm super excited about our defense. I can say this, with 1,000% confidence that this is one of the best defenses that I've ever seen. I mean, coming from a very explosive offense, they do things that break our rules, that make it hard to do the things that we want to do. So I feel like any team we go against this year is going to have a really hard time trying to break them down because they're like Gabe said. I mean, they're very violent and they're physical and they're very smart and they're technically sound. Like it's a very hard defense, and honestly, being on the other side of it makes me happy because I know we don't have nothing to worry about.
What kind of rules have they broken? You said they've broken some
It's
rules.
just
Just
the way they play.
for what your offense does, not
Yeah,
like
it's just like the way our ID system or how they play the run. They know how to play us. I'll say that.
okay, they're ready for you.
Yeah, we go against each other every day, so
Yeah.
obviously they start to figure out a lot more than they should, but it's good.
Who are the guys that are, especially besides Gabe, that are tough to run away from, and or the guys that you really don't want to get hit by?
I mean, honestly, kind of like Gabe said, pretty much everybody on the defense. I mean, our defense is so deep, like especially like our D line. Like our D line is crazy. Like we had like Chris Dixon obviously running that unit, being the leader, the oldest guy in that group. Him and LePerry are insane. We got to transfer Isaiah Ray. I don't like running to his side. I'm gonna just be honest.
Okay.
He's fast, he's physical, and once he gets hands on you, it's pretty much dead. But I'll say the entire defense. Honestly, I mean we're so deep, and we have a lot of guys that can play and make a lot of plays.
On your side of the ball, what's in front of you? The offensive line. Only one guy technically was a starter for most of last year, but we've documented this. We had a little college football preview show yesterday. Matt Zimmer and I, we really got into it with the depth that there is on the offensive line, some FBS experience, Brock Wolf, who was a Kansas State transfer who played for you guys last year, and just some behemoths. But you're the one that gets to the up close view and needs them. Again, just take us there and what you see, what you experience.
Yeah, again, I'll say, very confident in that group. Days in, day out, they're working very hard. Coach Bain, he coaches them very hard, and it's definitely showing up at practice. They're doing the things that he needs them to do, and running behind them honestly feels good because I know I got time to make my cuts and do everything that I need to do to bust a long one. So honestly, I'm just super proud of that group. We're very deep in that department, and I'm excited to show you guys what we're working with.
We all know that the quarterback thing is sorting itself out, and there's 3 guys that are all trying to be the guy that steps in the giant shoes of Aiden Bauman from the last 3 years. But you've had a chance to take handoffs or catch passes or block for all these guys.
Yeah.
Just take us through step by step what you have seen in each of them.
Yeah, for all of them, really, I'll definitely say, out of all those 3 guys, they all are very, consistent. You trust them when they're on the field, and they all make the right plays. As that separates itself out, I just know the guy who is going to take that first snap is going to be the guy that the coaches trust the most. And regardless, all 118 of us are going to, support them and do whatever that is. I've been able to catch and, like you said, do all these things with them. And honestly, I'm just excited for whoever wins that role because, they're all capable of doing that. They all have their own unique talents. And, I'm just excited to see who's take the first snap.
Yeah, we've Matt Vitzum has been very kind to document each of their own individual strengths and talents. So we'll refer to our interview with him in July to take care of that. And then we get to the running back room with you. LJ departs, he's at Iowa. And how much back to bonding over commonalities. You had a season-ending injury last year. Keandre Logan Jones was able to come back later in the season, but I mean, you guys are such a powerful part and were expected to be of that offense, and you had it taken away from you early in the season. What have you seen out of him? And I'll ask, a follow-up within the question. How much did you guys bond over being in the same boat last year health-wise?
Yeah, I'll definitely say this with, the utmost confidence. Seeing Keandre come back, I believe firmly Keandre is the most explosive player in the country. And being able to see it every single day it's been awesome. And me and Keandre, we live together. We live together back in Florida. Like we've known each other since we were teenagers. So bonding has never like really been an issue, but we've definitely got a lot tighter ever since, we both went through the same thing and went through very hard times together. So just being able to come back on the field together, we're very excited and like very happy for one another and ready to show everybody what we're working with.
Did you spend a lot of time together in the training room? That's what someone from the outside would every day.
Definitely. We were in there every day, every single day.
Working. How did you, knowing that you'd much rather be out there on the football field, I can't imagine how difficult that is psychologically for someone in that position. What did you guys do to try to keep yourselves sane, happy, optimistic? Yeah, honestly, I mean, I'm sure since you spent so much time together in the same boat, take us in there.
Honestly, what really helped was our relationships with other running backs. Like on game days, like we would get joy of watching the other running backs play because of the relationships we had with them, and a part of that kept us sane because it was like we were living through them. And also just knowing that when we come back, we'll be back to what we do, and we just had to sit out for a little bit, and we just came to terms with that and we just trusting in God and His plan. That was the biggest thing for us, and we just knew that we just got to stay down for a little bit. When we come back, it's gonna be down.
It's been a long time and it's been a long road back, but I haven't chatted with you since the injury at Lamar. Just for those who maybe haven't heard the story, take us there. What happened? What goes through your mind? How is it all handled after you realize you've been hurt pretty bad? All of it.
Yeah. So second game, believe it was the second quarter. I ran a drag, tried to catch a ball that was kind of behind me a little bit. and I reached down. I couldn't catch the ball, and then I got hit, and my leg basically hyperextended. I tore my LCL and my hamstring tendon. So at first, I didn't think that I tore it. I knew something wasn't right, but I didn't think I like tore anything. I thought it was maybe like just like a bone bruise or something small because I was able to still like walk and move on it. So when I got through to the tent, they said I should be fine. We just taped it up a little bit. I tried to go back in the game, so I went back in the game, and um, it didn't end well. I realized something was definitely wrong when I was trying to run and plant, and my last carry, I ended up being a fumble because I got hit in my knee again, and I was in so much pain that was just put me out for the rest of the game. And then I got an MRI the next week, and they told me that I tore my knee.
Like, how much pain were you in? Did it hurt to walk? Could you walk?
Yeah, it hurt to walk. I couldn't really get on the stairs to like go on the bus. It was hard for me to take my pads and my cleats off. Like I was in a lot of pain just because of how much swelling was in my knee and the fact that my hamstring tendon wasn't attached to my leg anymore. So it was definitely a lot of pain that I was in.
How did you process that? Not just having to be in that kind of pain, but knowing the season's been taken away from you. You're gonna have to spend a lot of time for a long time uh, recovering just to be able to walk and then just to be able to play football and do the things you do again. What was that? What was that all like to go through?
It was definitely hard. I mean, I was one of the people that was like, I wouldn't know what to do if it happened to me.
Yeah.
And then it happened. So honestly, I just had to stay pretty optimistic. At first it was really hard because, I felt like it was taken from me and I feel like I had a lot to prove last season. But then I realized, it was all part of God's plan at the end of the day. And there was nothing I could really do about it except just go forward and get to the point that I'm at now.
When was the first moment that you realized I'm totally back? I can do this. I can make all the cuts. I'm just as fast as I was. Uh, I'm back to being me again. Do you, can you remember that moment?
I would definitely say probably the first time I kind of felt it was in the summer during summer workouts when we were doing timers,
Yeah.
and we were running like fly tens, and I felt like I was moving, and I had like the fastest time on the team, and I was like, okay, now I'm starting to feel good. And then I would say in the middle of fall camp, I had one or like a really good practice where I had a couple long runs and touchdowns, and I was like, okay, now I'm getting my confidence back. I'm ready to go. And that since then, it's been pretty much on since.
We all try to get sometimes in the mindset to live vicariously through you guys that have this immense athletic ability. And so I always wonder if you went through what you went through last year, how much, what's the fear factor? How much do you think about ever being back there? Does it make you hesitant at all, or do you just always think forward?
I always try to think forward, honestly, because if I worry too much, I start getting hesitant in my play. And
Yeah,
the last thing I want to do is be hesitant and play slow because that's just not how I play.
yeah.
So honestly, I just go out there full force and just do what I can because at the end of the day, we're playing a game that we love to play. So whatever comes with it, it comes with it. And I'm just trusting in my knee, trusting in everything that I've done and all the work I put in, and just hoping that everything goes smooth.
Dude, I can't imagine how pumped you are to get back out there and get after it. Like, what's how describe to me how much and how do you is it hard to handle? Like, do you wish next Saturday were tomorrow, or are you pretty process oriented? You can hold back.
It's kind of both. Like, I mean, I get to the point where sometimes I can't sleep because I'm so excited. But at the end of the day, like you said, I'm process oriented. I understand I have to go through this first to get there, and which is fine. It just gives me a little bit more time to get stronger and faster. But I'm so pumped. Like even right now, I'm like kind of shaking thinking about it. I'm just ready to go out there and play football again.
Last one. I got to ask you about Matt Vitzthum. He obviously was a co-offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. All of a sudden, he's the head coach. What have you noticed about him that really has stuck out since the day he took over?
Honestly, was stuck out to me, and it's always been even before he was a head coach, was how much of a player's coach that he is. Coach V, he definitely cares about his players, and that's what honestly drew all of us to him in the first place. And he makes it an emphasis that no matter what or who is doing what, the superstar of the team is the team, and everyone respects that about him. It's never about one person; it's about all of us together. And I feel like with him being that way, it makes everyone feel involved, no matter what their role is, and it's very important to us. And like I said, I mean, I love Coach V, and I'm very excited for him for his first year as a head coach. And I'm just ready to rock for him.
Yeah, well, we're ready to rock as well. I know I wish tomorrow was April 20 or August 29th.
Yeah.
To see you guys hit the field in the Dome against Central Connecticut State. So really appreciate you kind of getting us all in gear, and excited to see you play again. Thanks for being, for sharing with us what this experience has been like, and best of luck. Looking forward to it.
No problem. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Charles Pierre Jr., your running back for the University of South Dakota. And that'll do it for our USD show today. A big thanks to the voice of the Coyotes, John Thayer, to Gabe Hardman, the linebacker, and to Charles and to Steve Carlson at USD for helping us set all this up. We'll be chatting with Matt Vinstham each and every week, starting next week. For video producer Cordell Wright, I'm John. Happy hour and cheers.
You need anything else, John?
No, I think I'm good, Greg. I think I'm going to tap out.
All right. Have a good night.